I go to the right. Yeah.
It's a little floppy.
I can.
That's a new. No, that's a new fucking part.
I can clean things
No,
from a long
fuck
way
off,
away
that's
now. I
new.
can clean you from way over here.
Fuck off.
Garbage. Actual garbage. Today on how not to rebuild a diff. We actually got decent bearings for the hubs. The Felpro proper gaskets, even though ultra gray would probably work if you're a lazy piece of shit like me. You bought cheap ass U-joints because temporary. You need a new driveline. Too short. Anybody who's building a 14 bolt, we're gonna see if this works. But I found some dudes that know some shit. If you have scored, just come. Teach people things. Come with me. We'll see. So if your shit looks like this shit, which is shit, rusty, nasty, been full of water for who knows how long. This one's even better. Okay. We are going to clean these up as best we can, but there's a chance that we'll never get it to work with the old style seals. These are the new style seals off of the newer trucks. And basically how it works is you got this rubber inner, and then you got this that presses into the hubs themselves. And the seal spins in itself, so it never spins on this surface again.
It's
so
a two-piece seal.
It's a two-piece seal. So you put a little bit of light, a little bit of sealant on this when you put this all together. And actually, I have a Super Duty over there. It has these original, and they work awesome because I rebuilt those hubs. We found that old 14 bolt stuff will accept some new 14 bolt stuff. So we're gonna use these. So these are not shit. These are actually kind of cool. Modernizing the 14 bolt. We believe yours was made in what, 77?
Yeah, that actual tube. Or the ring gear we pulled out had 1977 stamped on it, so we're gonna guess it's a 77. What is that?
The carrier. You have a limited slip diff, believe it or not. Blew my mind. And you got screwed because apparently lockers don't fit in limited slip diffs. So you need the 4-pinion standard spider gear setup, which is what this is. Bought the cheap one. You didn't cheap out on the gears though. Yukon. It's like $300 right there.
Yeah, show them the...
And they're made in fucking China. I would never buy these again. I would, however, buy their install kit again, as it did come with all US Timken. It's a very nice put together kit. So I like the kit. I'm not impressed with the ring gears. I expected American made. I'm one of those people. The bolts, why on God's earth they don't sell a kit of all the bolts that you need, just 12 of them proper? Damned if I know. Went with the OG Real Boy Detroito.
Hey, look how small that thing is in your hand. That is almost $600 for that damn thing.
Yeah, man, it's $500. But, okay, you can get away with the Yukon one, which I'm starting to question if the Yukon one's probably made in China. Granted, this one's made in Poland, which we already made fun of before. I like this one because my dad and numerous people I know in my family have run these in everything from welding rigs to toy vehicles and beat the shit out of them, and they just work.
Got a problem one we know of.
The OG Detroit, in my opinion, is the best. I have no experience with the Yukon one. I like OG shit because I'm old school, even though I'm a millennial. Cheap oil because don't need Amsoil, even though I like Amsoil. Yeah, I'm really disappointed in that. That just really bummed me out. I wanted some decent shit, man. Because I was going to build, project of mine was going to get a pair of Super Duty axles. If you couldn't tell, I'm not a Chevrolet guy. And I was going to buy Yukon stuff, but I don't know if I will now. I might try and find, I mean, if you're going to get China gears, why not just get some actual, save some money China gears, you know?
Yeah, how much is that gear set compared to just standard you can get off eBay?
It was... Well, you see, and I don't know this for a fact, I think Yukon and USA Gear are the same company. And the USA, see, that's what I'm wondering if these are just the same. Because the USA Gear stuff was 2/3 the price.
You tell me if it's the same thing, that means that
Yeah, it's like
USA gears are made in China.
you're paying to get this kick-ass, granted it is kick-ass, grizzly bear, polar bear sticker. I found this is what we ordered. 411 gears, $237 on Amazon. It was cheaper than anybody else plus Prime. Okay, so like I said, I feel like because their part numbers are the same, these are the same gears. But look at the prices. So why wouldn't a person just buy the cheaper ones? I mean, what's the actual difference?
Because apparently the Yukon, we bought the more expensive set, believing they were made in the USA, being a superior manufacturing company.
At least that's what they say.
And we opened it up, and what would we find?
And they look fine. I mean, I'm not saying that it's crap. Maybe they look good. I'm not saying they're garbage, but
where's it at?
I expected more. The China stickers on the box. I mean, it actually doesn't say on these.
But yeah, but we paid the premium, believing they were going to be USA made component, and they are no different than anything else you can get.
I will lament the fact that even U.S. companies like Timken, every bearing that we have was made in the USA from Timken. But I know for a fact, Timken, like most companies, everything's gone global. They have facilities everywhere. Eaton's no different with this, made in Poland. You never really know what you're going to get, I guess. I'm sure they have some stuff made in the USA. I need some 8.8 gears for a F-150 of mine. I'm sure those probably are made in the U.S., but I don't know. That transfer to get you. Moving on. Anyway, so the carriers were cheaper. You get the motive, it's cheaper. What I'm going to do is slap, because the old bearings are roached. Otherwise, I would use the old bearings. So I'm going to press these on here, half-ass assemble it, and I want to check the run out on this face, which I don't think I can do without putting this on because GM and their split carrier design. So I'm probably going to do just a light assemble, kind of tighten everything down, nothing Loctited or permanent. Press the bearings on, throw it in the carrier. Once we get it clean, we don't have it fully cleaned yet. And see how square it is before I put all this shit together.
Yeah, the reason we're doing that is we want the cheaper carrier because the carrier that was in the axle was actually made for a limited slip,
which we have.
He's going to bring it over here, but what brand is this thing again?
That's a Motive Gear.
This is a Motive Gear carrier. This was only about $150 compared to, we were wanting to go with Yukon carrier, but the carrier was going to be roughly $400, and I can't see a difference of paying, $250 more for that.
Okay.
And this is what we're swapping from.
So the OG carrier,
Let's go on now.
quality. The OG carrier is a limited slip, as you can see the clutch packs in it. And best of my knowledge, I tried to look it up. Everyone says, no, it's not toilet paper. It's boxer rags, man. Boxer rags are the best. Buy boxer rags from Sam's. They save you money. This has limited slip clutches in it, and all those the lockers are made for open diffs because of the way that the splines were, or your pinions. This in a normal open diff, which if anybody's taken one apart, they know. Cross, you got your spider gears on each one of these. This is just a cross inside of this carrier. It gives you the open diff, one leg, one tire fire. What are you going to call it?
We're eliminating the spider gears to keep that from happening.
Well, because GM, in their infinite wisdom, it is kind of cool, actually. This is their carrier. This is how it works. No other axle that I can think of off the top of my head, not that I know everything, is made this way. When you buy a differential or a locker, Detroit, you get what's on the box, which is the locker and the carrier for the ring gear and the bearings. It's all one unit. This is the only one I've ever seen where you buy a locker and it's literally just the locking mechanism and you install it in the carrier. Well, you got screwed because the dude that had the truck before you had a factory limited slip.
The carrier will not work with this.
So you can't put the locker in.
The main thing is you have to purchase, if you're going to run a 14-bolt full float axle and you want to put a locker in it, you need to get one that is a one-legger technically, non-limited slip, so a cheap truck.
Which is beneficial to people.
Otherwise, if you get the one with the posi track, it will not work. You have to buy a carrier also along with when you purchase the locker assembly.
And I
It will
think
not
we
work
mentioned
otherwise.
we mentioned it earlier in your video that we tried to find just a stock GM carrier. I tried eBay, internet, all I could come up with for factory carriers, and this could be a problem for other people too. All the carriers I found that were open diff were for 456 and up. So 456 up to like 580 something. You know, if you're running tires this tall, tractor tires stuff, you need those high gear, or the those numbers are annoying. You need the low gears higher numerically. This is a 411 carrier. The 14 bolt splits at 411 and 456. So it's 456 and numerically higher numbers, but lower gear ratio, meaning your engine turns more versus your tires. The 411 and down, or 411 down to I think 320 somethings was the highest or the lowest. See, it's why it's confusing. The lowest gears you could get for numerical for highway speed, which your Suburban has factory 410s, and the GM corporate kind of a Dana 44, whatever the hell Chevrolet did there. This is a factory 410 rig. That axle, we pulled it apart from sitting for 10 years, was in pristine condition. Was impressed after sitting that long. It was, gears are beautiful. So that required nothing except for hub assemblies. Please tell me you're cutting that into your video of your quality wheel bearing.
Show me how good this car is. Oh, that's not a problem. We can work with that.
Like a rock.
Yeah, we can work with that.
When you do this, not exaggerating, your wheel bearing might need replaced on your tire. That's how we almost died numerous times driving. How many miles to go paintballing when we were young?
A lot.
Like 40 freaking miles.
I was curious why it pulled right pretty bad. This is before we knew anything about mechanicking, so we've learned a lot since then. This car's been sitting for 10 plus years, and I finally decided to drag it out. All we did is put a battery in it, and it started and moved, and then we've been slowly fixing it up to make it, drivable.
I'm sure you will insert pictures of crap to.
Oh yeah. Still drives. Not very well, but it does drive. Works.
And yeah, so I couldn't find a 411 and down GM carrier. I would prefer to have, even if it's used and just needs cleaned up, I would way rather have OEM. But the Yukon aftermarket is overly expensive. There was another one, Nitro Gear, I think G2 Gear or something like that. They were actually $100 more than Yukon. My only gripe about the motive, I'm not overly impressed. I mean, all the other machine surfaces look, adequate. Where the bearings sit down, I can't feel any rough edges or anything. If there's maybe one little right there, I'll take a file and kind of clean up some of the stuff. You got to do that anyway. You got to make sure all this will set flat. This is the first rear end I've ever set up, so I'm sure within 500 miles the gears will eat themselves. And he'll be pissed at me, but it'll be okay. He'll get over it and buy more gears.
I just paid $1,600 for these parts. I'd rather not do it again.
And but I'm not overly impressed with this mounting surface right here, this casting, which I think this has been painted. It's a little rough on the bolts, so there's some paint on this one. I'm gonna have to clean that up, because if your bolts don't set down and torque down nice, then this will eventually get itself loose, and those two will lose the correct lash and everything. Or the ring gear could maybe, you know, if it warms up and it's not held down proper, it'll start getting a little walk to it.
You're gonna have bad times, but
you're gonna have a bad time.
You're gonna be replacing everything you just put into it.
You know, and like we said, very expensive. So
don't do that.
Don't.
Just do it right the first time.
Try to do it right the first time. That's why we went
do your
with
research.
Good bearings. We thought we went with, and I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm disappointed in the country of origin. But you know, we tried to buy some decent stuff, not skimp. This is the only thing we skimped on, just because the prices were so outrageous. I mean, literally $150, $60 versus almost $500 for a Yukon carrier. You know,
so we're gonna try it out. That's gonna be the part that failed, wrecks it all. We got to start fresh again. Then we'll learn.
The 14 bolt is super stout. It is a very well built machine component, and you have a enormously powerful TBI 350. So, you know,
soon to be
as long as
one
you
day.
Ease into the pedal, no hard acceleration, you should be okay. You know, because the TBIs are so known for just raw.
Tell them what the plan actually is for this thing at some point.
You said something about a 6.2 Detroit out of that other truck you got.
No, we're not 6.2 swapping.
CUCV,
we're not
full size. Come on.
No, I would actually like to. If I swap that in, I'm going to have less power than what I do with this 350 in this thing. That's not happening. So the plan is to either do a 5.3, 6.0, or 6.2 LS engine. If I really, really want to go all out, it's going to be Dirty Max swap.
Dirty Max would be good.
But I highly doubt we'll get there, because first we're going to get the rear end in it, get it drivable, make it roadworthy again, and then the next thing is to get the rust fixed, because if I can't get the rust fixed, then there's really no point to keep dumping money in this thing. It's just going to rot from the inside out. So that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, good luck on the bodywork.
Huh.